What's going on, everybody? In today's video, I asked my Twitch chat to help me make a PvP class tier list for the Lost Depths DLC. A couple of things before we get started. If you guys are interested in joining my Discord, there'll be a link for that down in the description. Come hang out, ask questions, whatever. Also, I'm about to start a video series on the channel, which I'm probably going to call something like PvP University or something like that. If you want to learn burst combos on Stamden, if you want to learn burst combos on Stam DK, Mag DK, whatever, I'm going to do a separate video for each one of those. I'll do one for line of sighting, all sorts of stuff for PvP. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you get subscribed to the channel. Without further ado, let's hop into the tier list and see what chat chose for the best classes this patch. All right, are we ready? Let's try not to be super toxic in chat, all right? Because this is going on YouTube. All right, chat. We're going to do a tier list starting with, we're going to do Mag and Stam for every class, even though I know that like Templar is kind of just Templar. There isn't really like a Mag and Stamplar anymore. There's just kind of a Templar. Everything else, I think, though, right, has a Mag and Stam counterpart. Okay. First class, Magicka Dragon Knight. I'm not sure anything's going to be in the S tier. I'm thinking probably A tier. A tier for sure. Mag DK is A tier for sure. S tier? You're thinking it's S tier? I think everything is pretty, like, what about between like A and S? Because I'm thinking Nightblade is probably stronger than Dragonite, right? And I want to put Nightblade up in S tier. Let's go with Stamina Dragonite. Stamina Dragonite, probably not as strong as Magicka Dragonite, but still strong. We've got the same heals. What do you guys think about like an A or a B tier for the Stamina Dragonite? A tier, do you think it's as good as Magicka Dragonite? Or not quite as good as Magicka Dragonite? B tier? Low B tier. Why lower than the Magicka Dragonite? It's on par. Mag is more OP. Low B because of Chrom. Okay. All right. Chrom bumps it down to B tier. I honestly would probably maybe put these like the same tier, because honestly, like with the hybridization, also if you're running a 2H on a Stam Dragonite, you've got your major brutality and your major sorcery. You gotta run like entropy and additional skill on Mag DK, or run a potion. I'm gonna put them both A tier. It's spam whip more on Mag DK. Oh, you're right. All right, so I'll put this here then. We'll put this in like a B+ tier. All right, Magicka Sorcerer. This is a class I don't play. I know they have good mobility. They have an unblockable CC. They're really only good in 1v1, in my opinion. Like maybe a solid B tier, mid B. Yeah, I'd almost put like Stam above Mag Sorc though. Does that look good? Are we agreeing on mid B tier for Mag Sorc? I mean, Stam Sorc, I'd say both B, Stam, maybe B+. Okay, so Stam Sorc's got the burst. Like, I feel like I put the exact same set that I run on my Stam Din on my Stam Sorc, and I had way more burst on Stam Sorc. The problem with Stam Sorc to me is the healing. The healing's not there for me. You do have Streak, which is some survivability, but the healing just isn't there for me. Stam Sorc A tier. The only thing that holds Stam Sorc back is not having a burst heal. And for it to not have a burst heal, and Nightblade does, just blows my mind. Right? Nightblade's got Cloak. Why doesn't Stam Sorc have a burst heal? Like, you can call Dark Deal a burst heal, but it's really not. Damn, Dark Deal, yeah, I know. But it's really not. Okay, I'm gonna leave Stam Sorc in A tier. Magdin. Or Magdin is probably, I mean, it's better in this patch. Would call it like a C tier. Dark Deal is kind of shitty heal. Dark Deal is a really shitty heal, and you can't bar swap for like a second after casting Dark Deal for some reason. Meh at best. Magdin's probably like a C tier. I think we had last patch, I think we had Magdin like way down in F tier, but with the new heal, maybe like a C tier, solid C tier. Still no execute, and I think that's its biggest problem. You're not dying on Magdin. It's true. And this Magden has a ton of healing. If you're gonna play a Magden as a healer, I mean, it's A tier, right? If you're gonna play a Magden as damage or solo, like it's probably C tier. Ice Warden is nasty. It's the class that I hate fighting the most. We're gonna leave it at C. We'll leave it at C. Magden feels really good, but you have to be hybrid. Low B for group. Okay, we'll put it like between B and C tier. It depends on what Magden depends on what you're using it for. If you're using it for group, like because you got a lot of heals, you're providing the minor toughness for your group. Really good for group play. Like maybe a B or an A tier for group play. Solo, not as good. So we're gonna land it like between B and C tier. C for solo, B for group, just because of the buffs. Exactly. Yeah, the minor toughness is super valuable for groups. Stamden. How's Stamden this patch? Stamden is up there. We have snare immunity now on our wings. S tier. Stamden S tier. We have snare immunity now on our wings. We've got the heal that scales off of your weapon spell damage. They're just inherently tanky. We get minor protection on our armor buff. You don't have to slot like a Psijic ultimate. You can use sword and board. Stamden, I think, is S tier. Also, if you want to run group utility with Stamden, you can always just build for max health and then run polar winds. So I'm gonna put yes. I think Stamden is S tier. You think Magden's B tier? Okay. All right, we'll put Magden in B tier. Solid B tier. I mean, it's got a lot of group utility. You make a good point about the execute. Like Mag DK doesn't have an execute either. All I see is Stamdens. This patch has a lot of Stamdens, and they my damage on my Stamden though is less than my damage on my Stamsork with the exact same sets on. My survivability on my Stamden is probably 3 times what my Stamsork is. So it kind of depends how you want to play. If you want to play tanky, go Stamden. You want the damage and mobility, go Stamsork. Okay, next up, Magblade. Magblade got a Dark Cloak nerf. Does that bump them down? Like, did they get any sort of buffs? I think Magsork is C at best. I played all day yesterday and ran into a lot more Stamdens. Concealed got buffed. It did, right? So having concealed weapons slotted, I think, gives you a 4% buff to everything on your bar. But they nerfed the crap out of Dark Cloak. If you're not standing still using Dark Cloak, it's like a 50% heal nerf. Mag Nightblade's good solo. When you kill Warden faster and kill a Nightblade on Bounty Board, you know that's being played the most. Yeah, exactly. Well, everyone's playing Warden, right? So are we saying Magblade is B tier or C tier? Like, it's hard for me to tell because they did get a buff to concealed weapon, but then they got a huge nerf to Dark Cloak. D tier. B. Okay, B. What about like C plus? B. B. Everybody's voting B. Okay. Stamblade. S tier. Stamblade is the same that it was last patch, except for now you're guaranteed at least 1 crit every 4 seconds. What Mag Nightblade uses Dark Cloak? A lot of them do, don't they? I don't think a lot of Mag Nightblades use Shadowy Disguise. The only thing I like with Stamblade is, and it's not the Stamblade's fault, it's the game's fault. There's a bug with in-cap where it will bug out when you get to 120, like 120 ult to 125, where you can't cast it. So, you know, like on Stamblade, the ultimate goes from not stunnable, and then when you hit 125 ult, then it turns green and it becomes stunnable. Well, there's a bug right before it, like 5 ult before it, where it won't cast, and that's like my biggest thing with Stamblade. There's no reason to use Dark Cloak at all. Yeah, just because of the nerf, right? It's almost all the time now. Yeah, that's my only complaint about Stamblade, and that's the main reason why I haven't been playing it, is because of that in-cap bug. And judging by the leap bug, I don't think they'll ever fix the in-cap bug, unfortunately. I'm sure they're not even aware of it. You always have to wait for 130 ult. That's exactly how it is. You have to, right before it turns green, you can't cast it, and that seems like that's always when I need it the most. There's an in-cap bug. There absolutely is. Yeah, it's been around for like 2 patches. Also, Nightblades take dot damage while in stealth now, which I don't know if is a huge downside. Just something to note. Nightblade has the highest burst. The in-cap spec bow, there's nothing that's going to compare to that as far as burst combo. Also though, like building the stacks and it probably has the highest skill ceiling. Dots and stealth isn't as bad as people make it out to be. It's actually not too bad. Yeah. React Faster runs hybrid Magblade, and he does not run any cloak morph. Oh, interesting. You might be better off, yeah, putting a different heal there instead of running the cloak. But the thing about dark cloak is it gives you minor protection though. But you can always get that from running like Sijigun do on the back bar. All right, next up, Magplar. I don't know anything about Magplars this patch. I know that Deltia's been complaining that his Magplar is dead, right? Is Magplar dead? Jabs are supposedly dead. Magplar can't really... What other spammable could Magplar use? Unless it's a range plar, right? Lots of complaints on jabs. You're gonna say it's a C or D, sweeps 30%, nerf, power, purifying light, 30% nerf, got hit hard. The only thing that Magplar's got going for it still is probably the bubble, right? For the survivability. It doesn't have a spammable anymore. Unless you play a range plar. Weapon spammables. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like unless you play range plar. Because you're not gonna use a dual wield spammable because it's a stam skill. Magplar's good in group still. Range plar's hitting hard. So we'll put it like, why don't we go C tier if it's range plar, like probably D tier if it's just good old Magplar. So do like C tier because it still is viable. That's been played at range now, but even its main spam skill is super dodgeable. What do you use with Magplar, range plar? Do you use Crushing Shock? Kirk is playing people at CP 200 on his Stamplar. Oh yeah, Kirk's a legend though on Stamplar. I mean, think about the average player though. All right, Stamplar. Stamplar is okay because you still have options, right? You can run dual wield. You can run the dual wield spammable. I'm gonna put like Stamplar, I think in B, probably B tier. You can run Crushing Weapon. Yeah, you're right. You can run the dual wield spammable. The only thing is like if you run a dual wield, you have to get your major brutality from somewhere because you can't get it from jabs anymore. I usually on a Stamplar, I usually run dual wield front 2H pack to get my major brutality. But it was super handy to just get your major brutality from biting jabs. All right, so what are we voting for Stamplar? A or B? B tier. You can also use Shrouded Daggers or Flying Dagger. That's true because that does give you major brutality, doesn't it? Okay, chat seems to think B tier. Magcrow. Is Magcrow still OP this patch? I mean, is it A tier, S tier? I know Magcrow has always been super strong. A tier, not as strong as Nightblade or Stamden, but still strong. Sad because they had a unique way of playing with Brawler, Gap Closer. Yeah, B tier. Did Magcrow get any big changes this patch? People are still bombing. I have not seen as many Magcrow bombers though this patch as last patch. Magcrow B, Stamcrow's A tier. A tier for Magcrow or B tier for Magcrow? And why? The heal did get nerfed, right? It got half, I think. Did it get half? I guess that does technically drop it down probably from S tier into A tier because of the ghost nerf. All right, so I think we're settling on A tier, right? Cast your votes. Stamcrow's definitely better. So do we put Stamcrow then in S tier? Is Stamcrow as strong as Stamden though? Probably tankier than Stamden. I would say it's got less burst than Stamden. Low S. So we'll put it like between like S and A. I think like low S, high A is good because of the nerfed heal. And the burst isn't as good as Stamden. Like if I have to choose between Stamden, Stamcrow, I'm gonna play Stamden. The damage is higher, survivability is close. Stamcrow's a little tankier. The stain is probably a lot better because of the net. I guess you do have the coil on Stamcrow. We'll do like A+ for nerfed heal. Otherwise it would probably be S tier. You're so quick on Warden with wings, and you also get the snare immunity from the wings. It's like 4 seconds too. It's really good. And that's one thing that Necro lacks is mobility. Necro doesn't have the mobility that Stamden has. The wings change is amazing. Absolutely, yeah. All right, so how does this look, chat? Any changes that you guys would make? Anything you disagree on? Stamden can control the field better than any other class outside of Stam, so I just feel so survivable on my Stamden because of the wings. I can get away from Zergs, I can line of sight. Is Magplar really worse than Magblade? I don't know, Magplar's in a bad spot just because of the spammable. Damsork's crap. Damsork's got a lot of bursts. It's just the heals that are the problem, but you also have mobility, right? What if we move Damsork like down a little bit? We put like, let's move Magblade down a little bit. We move Damsork down a little bit. Damsork even with like Stam DK. How's that? Better? The only reason that this is above Magblade, the only reason that Magden is above Magblade is for the group utility.